All right, hello, my communications class, 115. This is my audience for the evening, all huddled together, trying to stay warm. Okay, you can please record. Thank you. Okay. All right, so in 2014, the United States Urban Institute estimated that there was $39.9 million in Denver, Colorado alone for the underground sex economy. Prostitution is known as the oldest profession on the planet. Some of the statistics that I'd like to go over with you today are violence that take place in sex work, the profits that can be made, and observing better regulation practices and how exactly we can make this a better overall economy decision for us all. So 4.5 million people are victims of sex trafficking, and a quarter of that number is all children under the age of 18, and this is reported by the Colorado State University site. Some of the tactics that they use are online and involve force, violence, and coercion. Some of the tactics they would use is telling somebody that they have a debt that they have to pay off, and then telling them in increments that they can pay off that debt, and that debt being something they can never pay. Also holding family members and keeping them in a separate part of the place that they are staying and not allowing them to ever be free from this debt. And some of the long-term effects of this are STIs that would never go away, and physical and mental scars from the conditions that they have to stay in, because they usually stay in close quarters with more than one person. Again, that's 4.5 million people right now. So one of the quotes from Barbara Meal Hobson from The Uneasy Virtue is, "Prostitution will always lead into a mental and moral quagmire in democratic societies with capitalist economies. It includes the terrain of intimate sexual relations and beckons regulations. A society's response to prostitution goes to the core of how it chooses between the rights of some persons and the protection of others." One of the failures that we've seen in the past is that there has been regularized sex work in places such as Germany, and some of the things that had happened there were that the working hours were not regulated, so it was a 24-hour workplace for them, and they also stayed in the same place where they worked, which was usually just a room and had to be shared, the quarters had to be shared with other women. The working conditions were not regulated. They had inconsistent testing for the workers, and then also for anybody that was partaking in the work. And the other parts of the work were not regulated. They were not permitted to say no to any client for anything that they needed, which is obviously unacceptable. What we can learn from this is we can make this the foundation of how we can Americanize this process, and we can regulate for safe sex, regulate pay, and regulate the type of work that people do. So currently 4.5 million people are used in illegal sex trafficking, which is just a supply meeting a demand. People will have a moral reservation about what they think is acceptable and what is not acceptable, but overall, what is not acceptable is forcing people into a type of work that they are not committed to do. And that is my conclusion.